Welcome to Mental Health Without Borders, the Global Wellness Podcast with Dr. Lindsay Frey, where we dive into the complexities of mental health from a global perspective, exploring how different cultures approach wellness and what we can learn from one another. This episode is sponsored by Finding Hope Wellness Center in Tampa, Florida, where individuals, families, and couples can go to receive hope and healing for their mental health. Go to www.findinghopewellnesscenter.com to find out more. So let's get started. Today we have Sonia Ferreira, and she is a licensed clinical psychologist and marriage and family counselor with extensive experience supporting individuals through various forms of trauma. Based in Brazil, she primarily works with adult women across a variety of ages through her practice, and she also includes men and young adults as well that she sees. Thank you so much for being here and welcome. I'm so happy to talk with you again since we already got to talk one time and it just went so well and it was so easy. So thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. It's quite a privilege to be able to talk to you and address this important issue that is mental health.
Yes, it's something that I really enjoy talking about and something I really enjoy talking about with other professionals who are passionate about it as well. So can you start off by telling me where you are living now and where you are from originally?
Right now, I'm living in a city called Belo Horizonte, which translates to beautiful horizon, and it is true. It's quite beautiful. In the state of Minas Gerais, it is in the southwest part of Brazil. Southeast part of Brazil.
Mhm.
And I'm originally from a small city in Mato Grosso do Sul, where I was born. But I basically grew up and was raised in São Paulo, capital. So I
Which is
call myself a Paulistana by heart. That means I'm from São Paulo because I grew up there.
because you grew up there? Fantastic. I know somebody that's from there. It's quite a large city too, correct?
It is. It is. It is very, very large.
Good. And so tell me a little bit about your story or your journey to becoming a therapist. What inspired you to become a therapist?
Uh, well, it's a long story, but I'll make it short. Um, it started when I was a teenager, and I was able to help someone at the time. This young man who was part of the church I was attending. He was struggling with various issues, especially sexuality. And I was 15 at the time, and he said I was great help to him, and that really made me feel like, wow, it's so good to help. And fast forwarding many years later, um, I started to study marriage and family counseling in the U.S. It was a great opportunity that I got, and I was enrolled in the marriage and family counseling program. And I got to work in a mental health clinic first as an intern, and then they invited me to stay because I could help people who had the Portuguese descent, like they could speak Portuguese. So I could offer therapy in Portuguese and in English. So to me, it was a wonderful experience. At the time, I was working primarily with children, teens, and adults who were dealing with sexual abuse trauma. Uh, Once back in Brazil, I really wanted to continue doing that. I had to teach for a while, but then I got my degree and licensure as a clinical psychologist and have been working since then, helping people from different ages and backgrounds. And in the past 5 years, especially during pandemic, I started working online, and my office sort of opened the doors to the world, and I got to meet people from all kinds of places I never thought I would. So it's sort of like coming back full circle in a way, because I feel that right then when I was 15, and that experience I had of having helped someone really made me feel like, you know what, I'm in the right track. I'm doing what makes me feel fulfilled, and I want to continue learning uh, how to be a better professional and a better human being. So
Wow.
pretty much that. There are a lot more to say.
Yes, we all have stories. And I really loved
Yes.
listening to people's stories and how they became a therapist and what inspired them. And I can really relate to that as well because when I was a teenager, that's when I decided to become a therapist as well.
Oh, you too.
And so, yes, yeah, absolutely. When I was 18 years old, I wrote down my goals and my dreams, and
Mhm.
clinical psychologist was my top goal that I had for myself. So
Wow.
it's really neat, isn't it, to have that
Yeah.
experience to sit across from someone and to be living out something that you were hoping to do, from a young age.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had no idea back then. I really didn't. All I knew was that it felt good to be able to help. And later on, through other experiences, I was able to see that what I like is to work with people. I like being around people. And if I can help also, that's like so wonderful. And I feel happy I chose this path.
Yeah, it is. It's such a gift to be able to walk with people in their journeys and to be able to be there to help
Mhm.
them. So I
Absolutely.
really honor
Absolutely.
that and respect that. And so,
Mhm.
can you tell me about? You said you work from with clients from all over the world. Is that correct? So
Yes, yes, it is. Brazilians too. Brazilians.
Brazilians as well. And so, how do you shift or change your therapeutic approach when you're working with clients from different backgrounds or from different areas?
Yeah. This is a very good question. And very important too. Um, I think that each culture is different. Every time I'm presented, uh, let's say, to a different culture, like a person with a different background, different than mine, I try to approach it with, let's say, a learning spirit and an open mind, because we can never assume that we know everything. And sometimes when you encounter another human being, you realize that we are more similar than different because we share humanity. And at the end of the day, it's a human talking to another human. So I try to be as respectful as possible and learn from them. So I'm not embarrassed to ask sometimes, what does this mean? Is this true? Um, how do you manage this? How does it work in your culture, in your family, in your community? And I try to also tap into those resources later on and help people to make those connections as well, because sometimes they have resources and they have experiences that can really add to what I do. So if I go with an attitude that from my Western point of view, I have the answers and this is how people should uh, uh, address their mental health issues, I'm already doing something completely um, off of what it should be. So I think that the most important thing here is to remember that we all have our cultural biases. I can't pretend I didn't grow up in Brazil. I can't pretend I don't know what I know from my own lenses, because this is how we develop and grow. So yes, I have to recognize my biases and challenge some cultural views and stereotypes that I grew up hearing about. From Middle East, from Europe, from the United States, from Japan, from Africa, all countries, and be open to hear and learn. Because our job is to listen to people a lot,
Mhm.
right? But I think that oftentimes we learn so much from hearing what people have to say about their culture. I've been learning something new every day, and I think that's a wonderful privilege. I learn new words. Like, how do you say this in your language? I often ask people, what does this mean? How important it is for you guys? I mean, and many times they know I'm Brazilian. So sometimes we exchange cultural um, facts, and it's interesting. They ask, "Oh, is it true that Brazilians do this and that?" Um, of course, within the boundaries of the clinical setting and addressing the issue at hand and all. So I try not to make it like a cultural conversation, obviously, but these things come up. Like, oh, how do you know this? You're Brazilian. said, that's true. I am. And I would like to understand how it is for you.
Yes.
And it's impossible sometimes to divorce the person I am, right, from the transference that happens during the session. So um, I try to listen. I try to be open to the differences, the cultural differences. I don't know if I answered
Yes,
the question.
absolutely. Well, because what I heard from you is that there's so many things that do bring us together, so many similarities we have. However, at the same time, the client is the only one that knows their own personal experience. And so you learn from them, and what they tell you helps you to guide your approach sometimes based on their culture, based on their history, their dynamics, and where they want to go in therapy as well. So
Yeah.
you're using your
Yeah.
expertise and you're also learning as you go. But I think that's such an open and brilliant way to approach it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, do you have a go to approach? I know we had talked before today when we met, and you said that there are certain approaches that work better with certain cultures. And
Mm-hmm.
so, what is one of your go to therapeutic approaches that you use that you find is helpful for clients from a specific background?
Well, I think many different ways to how people are valid. Um, I use usually the psychodynamic, the psychoanalytic approach because it has really been what a lot of people come looking for sometimes in my clinic. They say, I really want to understand why I do what I do. I wanna dig deeper and understand why I can't. I'll keep repeating certain patterns of behavior in my life. I want to understand. I want someone who can be more silent than talkative. And some people um, come with that in mind. So I respect that. I explain how I work, and there is no previous agenda prepared for them when they speak, so they can just come and free associate, say whatever comes to mind, and we'll work with that. Um, Sometimes those are the most productive sessions when people just speak freely and let things come instead of just, oh, today I want to talk about this and this and that, which is fine too if they want to. So I sometimes I do some breathing work in sessions too, and usually it's quite well received by people from different cultures. Um, we all breathe. We all, we all. That's something else that we share as human beings. So learning to be present with your breathing is very important. So sometimes during times, especially people who are working with, struggling with panic attacks, for example, high anxiety, I help these people apply some techniques, which is not psychoanalytical. Maybe it would make Freud roll in his grave. I don't know, but I think that I try to incorporate certain things that I believe to be helpful and not be tied to necessarily a theoretical framework.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think different approaches work differently for different people.
Yes.
And I know that some people might need more guidance and need a type of therapy that will tell them more direct advice or tell them, oh, try this, try that, do this, do that. So I think, I often let them know, this is not how I work usually, giving people advice or telling them do this or do that, but we build together. That's what I think it's the beautiful thing about therapy. If you sit in the passenger seat and let the client drive, you're there to help. You're there to guide them. It's like you're going through this dark tunnel. So I feel like I'm the one holding the lamp to help them see, spots of clarity and light as we go. So I'm not doing the driving, they are. So together we are mapping out, we're looking for different perspectives, different strategies to help them get to. Yeah, it's not like helping them see the end of the tunnel, but helping them through the tunnel.
Yes, like a guide. You're like a guide
Exactly.
through the tunnel. Absolutely. I think that's a really great way to explain it. And especially for anybody that's listening that has never gone to therapy before and that might have some kind of preconceived notion on what therapy is about, I think this could help them understand that, it can be personalized. The techniques can be personalized to you specifically, and with what you're coming with and the understanding. And I think that you're doing a really great job just kind of explaining how important it is to us as therapists to be able to understand their experience and to be able to help them right where they are with what they need. And a lot of times they have incredible brilliance inside of them and they just need that guide through something that's tough in their life. We all have those times when we need somebody to help us through. Even as therapists, we need that sometime as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And a big challenge many times for us is to keep focused and listen to what's not being said
Yeah.
and be able to hear and listen to that. That's really difficult sometimes. And but I think that so much is being said when the client is more silent. Some cultures um, are more silent than others. Like Brazilians are talkative and they move their hands and but some other cultures are quieter, or more they expect you to ask them questions so they can get going. And if you are too silent or you just leave things too open ended, they feel a bit uncomfortable. So I have had people asking me to, please, I need you to guide me through this here. I don't know what to say or what is expected of me to say. And if I just leave it, well, just say whatever comes to your head. Sometimes they feel a bit lost. So I give some, directions here and there. Well, you can talk about this, or if you prefer to talk about that. There is no right or wrong subject to discuss. This is whatever is important to you right now. So I do that sometimes, and I try to, as I told you, listen to what's not said.
And so I know that you've talked about a lot of the diversity of experiences that you see coming into your office, but what about some common psychological or emotional struggles that you're seeing clients face today?
Yes, common struggles that I have had coming to my office are people coming to get help with trauma bond fears, anxieties, and depression, general stress. A friend once told me that clients seek you because they find some kind of identification or something about you that makes them feel that they could tell you those things, that they could feel free to. And sometimes it's not so much about your credentials, but about the kind of person you come across as, like, is this person going to really handle what I have to say? Is this too heavy? Can this person really help me? Uh, so a lot of people come to therapy, and I'm here uh, uh, considering that some countries have a lot of stigma attached to going to seeking therapy. So the shame many times that they will be seen as crazy or out of control or weak, and a man emasculated. I have to be strong enough to be able to deal with my problems. So these people, when they come to therapy, especially coming from these places, they are coming because they are in great suffering and in a lot of pain. So it's like, if we consider people as human beings, like pain is pain anywhere. There is no like, oh, people in Saudi Arabia feel pain differently than people who live in Somalia, or it's not. Pain is pain, right? And I think that sometimes it takes a lot of time and patience to go through all the layers of that pain and be able to look at their family history, look at what the overt symptoms are really saying, and make the connections to the origins of that trauma. So it takes time. Um, but I see that people who come with trauma bond fears and anxieties, etc., um, they come for relief, they come for help, that they were able to get out words that were also translated to them. Because sometimes we need those translations to, like emotional translation. So what you're feeling is this, right? Or help me understand. I sense you're feeling this, or I sense you're trying to tell me that. And then some other person goes, yeah, that's right. That's exactly what I wanted to say. So I think people, the common, let's say the common struggle is that, like, they want someone who can understand and help them understand themselves as well. So yeah, I mean, we could list, I could have a list of disorders and syndromes, this and all of that. But I think at the end of the day, that's what it is. That's what, people are looking for.
Yes, they're coming in pain or distress, and they're trying to leave with some tangible way to make life better, different, easier, connect, and to heal. No, and I'm glad that they have you as one of their guides to be able to do so. And so, from your experience based in Brazil, what cultural or societal factors do you think have the greatest impact on mental health?
I think mental health here in Brazil over the last decade or so has evolved quite a bit. So I feel that now we are more open, becoming slowly, right? It's slowly in the process. Um, People are becoming more open to seek mental health and not waiting until they just can't take it anymore. But so I think that's a change in mentality, because historically, we have had not a very good, let's say, track record on mental health. There were these psychiatric hospitals that were like close to a concentration camp, so horrible and so very badly managed that they were sort of like dumping centers for people. They don't exist anymore. They have been closed, and more an emphasis on day treatment and community-centered treatments for these people have uh, uh, been developed over the years. Insurance companies are offering also psychological treatment, so people can use their insurance companies to services to pay. We have also a unified national health system that is called SUS. It's SUS, uh, which also provide, during all the other services that they provide, like access to medication, expensive medication, especially expensive treatment, surgeries, and all kinds of medical assistance. They also provide psychological treatment for people struggling with various mental health issues and drug addiction, alcoholism, you name it. And obviously, it's not perfect. It's actually far from perfect, because a country like Brazil, the size of Brazil, would require a lot more investment and a lot more to improve its quality to the users. But uh, it's been a lifesaver for a lot of people seeking help. So I'd say, yeah, we have evolved and have improved a lot in helping people who come looking for psychological services. Like I said, lots to be improved. A lot needs to be changed in people's mentality as well, to feel that if I need psychological help, doesn't mean I'm crazy. Doesn't mean I'm weak. Doesn't mean I'm less of a man, or doesn't mean that I will embarrass my family or cause any kind of social stigma towards them. So that it's like I said, it's changing, but there's still a lot to be worked on this area. One thing that I find very helpful, that it's also a new change, is that companies are becoming more and more aware of the need to assist employees with mental health. I know that some companies offer the like benefits such as VAP
Yeah,
assistance. But this is still a shy movement in Brazil. But there is this law now that companies have to pay attention to mental health problems that can arise from overwork, stress in the job, um, also harassment. So all the health of the environment that employees are in, and provide assistance. So this is a change that we hadn't seen in the past. So that's good.
that's
I
really
think,
great.
yeah, I think it should be worldwide that,
Mm.
you know, employee assistance, psychological employee assistance should be a benefit that all employees should have access to. And psychologists should be present in all spheres of society, schools, hospitals, all kinds of institutions everywhere, because people are people, right? And we interact with other human beings, but things just happen, right? And we need to have someone there who can mediate, who can help, who can bring perspective, who can give them tools to better relate with each other.
Hmm. I couldn't agree more. And so I definitely think that the stigma is going down, reducing the stigma, which is great. More awareness of mental health needs and more access, like you said. These are some really important change factors that are happening globally that I'm really happy to see. One thing that's really important is to take care of our own emotional health and well being as well as therapists. And so, for you as a therapist, yes, how do you maintain your own mental wellness as a therapist?
Wow. I believe that someone has to care for the carer
Mm,
in all kinds of situations. So, for me, one way I take care of myself is I keep my own mental health in check by going through my own therapy process. Because as I work with people, there are times when I feel that, you know, I need help too, to understand my reactions or my own biases, my own prejudice, my own, like, where's that coming from? Right? Understand my own family history, understand my own response to stress and other difficulties. So I do that as a part of my training as a psychologist that I think it's wonderful to do if you can't afford. I also do peer supervision, and I have a wonderful supervisor who helps me with the most difficult cases with all the respect, confidentiality that has to come with it. So she's a lot more experienced than I am. So she can help me through those most difficult ones to also help me understand that I'm doing the right thing, or like, I'll pay attention to this or pay attention to that. So that's very helpful. So that's in the professional arena. I love water sports, so I swim, and it's interesting. Swimming keeps me grounded. And how about you in the water? How do you ground yourself in the water? Well, through the breathing, because when I'm breathing and I'm trying to, you know, breathe underwater and then out and in. Uh, it helps me to see how present I am with myself at that very moment. Because if I get distracted, I'll swallow water. So I need to keep that focus that, I'm breathing and what's the keep a rhythm. And I forget everything else. So when I'm swimming, it's just me and the water and my breathing. So that's really good. I also love to spend time with my family, my kids, my husband, my brothers and sisters. They make me laugh in ways that nobody else can. Then you laugh so hard, it hurts you on your side. So this is what they do for me. I love my dog. I have a dog, a rescue dog, and he is so special for me too. We've had him for 9 years now, and his name is Pudding. Um, I also love to travel every chance I have. Nature, it really helps me recharge. Uh, and I think these are things that help me feel that if I don't take care of myself, I can't take care of others. So it's like that. I always use that metaphor of the airplane, right?
Mm.
In a situation of stress, you have to put that mask on yourself first, and then you move on to help other people. So if you're not taking care of yourself, how can you help other people, right? How can you care for them? So I think these things are important. Um, I love reading. I'm an avid reader, so I'm always reading something that I find interesting. Um, and I think that I mean, I'm a curious person by nature too. So I love to learn new things. So I'm always like, oh, I didn't know that. So I go look and read. And then with internet access today, right, we can find out about so many things and learn so many different things. So I find that really exciting.
Yes, there's so many different
Exactly.
ways to manage it. No, I appreciate that, and I hope that people that are listening can take some of what you're talking about and even put it into practice in their own lives, because some things that I heard from you are really taking care of your physical wellness by swimming, taking care of your
Yes.
social wellness by spending time with people that you love, and laughter. Laughing is so, so important. And then you're taking
Mhm.
care of your intellectual wellness by learning and traveling and experiencing new things, but then also I would say your emotional wellness by making sure that you are kept kind of in check with your peer supervision and your own source of therapy to be able to work things out. So that was fantastic. And I think it's a brilliant insight to get from you that we do need to take care of ourselves as helping professionals. Anyone that's listening, making sure that anybody that's taking care of anybody or anybody that's working or pouring out, we need to make sure that we are consistently refilling our cup before we go to do that with other people. And that's
Mhm.
what will sustain us in the long haul. And
Mhm.
so, just to finish up, what is next for you? Do you have any goals or dreams or anything that's on the horizon for you, Sonia?
Yeah, I do. Like I said, I am naturally curious. So if I am challenged, I love challenges, by the way. If I'm learning new things, for me, that's what fuels, my 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 energy, my and I think that every opportunity I have to take short courses or go to conventions, go to symposiums, go to workshops, all these things are really for me. They're I'd say they energize me. For the future, for next semester, actually, I'm planning to enroll in a 4-year program to study more about trauma from a psychoanalytic point of view,
Mm.
perspective, psychodynamic, psychoanalytic. Uh, it's it's quite a commitment, but I'm so excited about it. I'm also planning to probably next semester or no later than next year start working more hybrid form because I work from my office online. Ever since pandemic, I've been doing this, and I think it's time that I start doing sort of like a mix. It's impossible to, in some cases, when I see people from, for example, I don't know, way in Germany, uh, but I know that there are people from here, from the city, that I would love to be able to see face to face and do that from a different setting, So this is something I'm planning to do for a change.
Yes. And so you really are a lifelong learner. So continuing to learn and continuing to grow. And I think that is so fantastic. So I really appreciate your time so much. Thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing your insights. I know that people are going to take something from this episode with them and hopefully apply it to their lives or maybe seek help if they need help. So thank you for joining me today on Mental Health Without Borders. And if you're a listener, remember that no matter where you are in the world or where you come from, your mental wellness truly matters. So be patient with yourself, take time for your well being, and never forget that seeking help is a sign of strength, just as Sonia had mentioned. No matter the challenges or distance, we are all in this journey together. So be kind to yourself. And I look forward to connecting with you next time on Mental Health Without Borders. Thank you again.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for listening as well. And I was very happy to be a part of this today.
Yes, thank you so much.